Hi, and welcome to this presentation on supporting your kids at home using goal setting. I'm Sharon Juenemann from the Shadow Project. We're a local Portland nonprofit that partners with K-8 schools to make learning more accessible and engaging for children with learning challenges. I'm also the parent of kids with learning challenges, and like many of you, I'm trying to figure out ways to support my children's needs with schools closed. I'm going to share with you today tips for supporting your child's behavior and academics using goal setting. These tips are based on Shadow Project's goal setting program, which special education teachers across Portland use to help their students persevere and develop confidence for learning. Parents, you can adapt this program for home use to support positive routines, successful behaviors, and especially keep a warm and positive connection with your child during this stressful time. These resources are meant to be supportive and adaptable to your children and your family situation. So please take what's helpful to you in the moment and leave behind what's not. So why focus on setting goals with your kids when we have so many other things going on right now? Well, one important thing that goal setting does is it gives us a sense of control. It allows us to identify one thing that we want to focus on every day and do that one thing. And that's hugely important for our kids' mental health during this crisis. But what's more, goals help us build a belief that we are capable of doing what we set out to achieve. Goal setting also helps us learn that we can grow from our mistakes. If we don't achieve our goal, we can think about why we didn't achieve it, make changes to our behavior, and keep trying. Goals help us build strength in our attention on tasks and persist even when things get hard. Goals build planning skills so we can take on bigger and bigger challenges and projects over time. And goals help us build empathy and connection to others. We think about who can help us and support us in our goals, and we develop awareness that everyone struggles at times. So really, goals help us build some pretty important academic and life skills that we can use in lots of different situations throughout our lives, including coping in difficult times like we're in right now. These skills are especially important for our kids with learning disabilities because our kids often face greater and more frequent challenges and barriers in school and in life. And stress, frustration, and anxiety can take over for them. So goal setting gives our kids the skills to face those challenges with confidence. So because many of us are very overwhelmed right now, I'm going to break this down into some short steps that you can spread out over time to make it more manageable for you to use goal setting with your children. So just remember to take it slow, eliminate anything that you think is extra, and just forgive yourself and your kids when you make mistakes. The really important thing about this is building skills, focusing on positives and strengths, and celebrating success. So the first step that you're going to take is to talk with your child about what goals are and what purpose they serve. You can share goals that you have as a parent, like maybe your goal right now is to take deep breaths when you feel anxious or out of control, or you're just trying to get out for a 10-minute walk around the block each day. There's also some great really short YouTube videos that explain goals in a fun way. And I've posted links to these in the resources document that comes with this video. Now, these videos frame goals in terms of big long-term projects. Right now, with many of us just trying to get through the day, you'll probably want to think in terms of smaller goals. Things like remembering to wash your hands or getting out of bed on time, or just focusing on schoolwork for, say, 15 minutes at a time. So goals can be great for accomplishing big, important things, but they also can be really good for just having something to focus on every single day. So after you've kind of learned with your child about what goals are and seen some examples, you're going to work with your child to choose a goal together. This is the goal that they're going to be working on. Now, of course, many of us as parents already have things in mind that we know our kids need to work on, but it's important to develop goals in conversation with your child so they're invested in achieving the goal. You can prompt your child to think about something they want to achieve in terms of school or at home. You can definitely offer ideas, kind of brainstorm a list with them. If you're struggling for ideas, or if your kids don't want to listen to you, like mine sometimes don't want to, you can also ask their teachers or specialists or therapists for ideas and maybe frame it as, hey, this is something your teacher said would be a really good idea. Now, for some kids, especially those who get overwhelmed with brainstorming and kind of shut down when they have too many choices, or who just aren't skilled yet at reflecting on their strengths and challenges, you might want to offer a couple of choices. Hey, hey, you can do this goal, or you can do that goal. So, for example, in my home, I might say, hey, we've talked a lot about how showering every day is important. And we've talked about how it's really great when you can sit at the table for 10 minutes so that we can have a nice family dinner. So for your goal this week, would you like to work on showering every day, or would you like to work on sitting at the table for 10 minutes? And just give them kind of that two choice way of building their buy-in and investment into the goal. Whatever you do, it helps to choose a goal with the right level of challenge. For some kids, it's really important for them to have easy early wins. So maybe choose something that they kind of are already doing, maybe not totally consistently, but just something you know they can achieve at really quickly. Other kids, though, will kind of scoff at a goal that's too easy and they won't take it seriously. So just kind of think about your child and what their response might be to different goals. This part might take the longest time to do, is finding the right goal and something that your child is excited about and wants to work on. So this probably take a little while to pin down. All right, so someone once said that a goal without a plan is just a wish. And so writing it down is an essential element. It helps your kids kind of break down what are the steps towards reaching the goal. And also for a lot of our kids, they're very visual learners, and visual cues are essential to keeping them on track with what they're supposed to be doing. So writing it down gives them lots of visual cues, and you can write this, or you can draw pictures of it. You can make kind of a little visual, like a visual schedule format, but you're going to think about a couple of different questions. What's your goal? Why is it important to you? What strengths do you have to help you? So remember, we're trying to keep this really positive and draw out the confidence of our children that they can do this. Importantly, what steps are you going to take to reach your goal? Who can help you? And how will you celebrate when you do it? And we'll talk about each of those steps a little bit. And I'll give you an example. So for example, in my house, my kids are having a hard time remembering to log on to Google Classroom for weekly meetings with their teachers. I want them to be independent in doing this. I don't have the time or energy to keep track of all of their different class meetings. And so this is what my kids' goal sheet looks like. So the goal is log into all my class meetings all week long. I want to reach my goal because I don't want to fall behind. Strengths, I'm motivated to do well in school. And then 3 steps, my child is going to write it down, set an alarm on the phone, and look at Google Classroom every day. And I am going to be the one to support my child in doing this. So you can totally pare this down if these are too many questions or if this feels overwhelming. If you want to pare it down, the most important questions are: what's your goal? What steps will you take? And how will you celebrate? And by the way, a copy of this paper is also included in the resources at the end of this video. Like I mentioned, a lot of our kids are visual learners and they rely on visual cues. It's really great to post this paper or your drawing, whatever you did, someplace where your kid will see it frequently, like the fridge, their bedroom wall, taped to the bathroom mirror, or all three of those places. If your child isn't a reader, they can use pictures. Like I said, you can find images online, anything that's going to be a visual cue, and especially get them to think about those steps. So you probably noticed that on the goals sheet, it said something about celebration. So why are we celebrating? There's several reasons. First of all, a lot of our kids are more literal, concrete thinkers who need a more hands-on, tangible endpoint to their efforts. They need something to think about that is that they can really wrap their brain around. So a goal like remembering to wash with soap is like, they know they need to do it and they're motivated to do it, but having kind of a prize or a celebration at the end of a week of washing their hands every day is going to be a lot better for their brains to focus on. The second reason is that our kids who struggle with learning due to disabilities really do need that extra positive encouragement and celebration, because our kids tend to get a lot more negative feedback throughout their day because of the skills they don't have, the things they're not able to do compared to their peers and siblings. And so it's extra important to acknowledge and reward their efforts. The celebration is you as a parent saying, hey, I see you, I know you're working, and I'm proud of you. And that's going to help build your child's confidence to continue to take on challenging tasks. Now, the celebration does not have to be an object that you buy. It can be something like a silly thing like, you can throw a water balloon at me, or you can style my hair in the craziest style. Or maybe you'll make them their favorite food and you'll enjoy it together, or you'll watch a fun show together. Again, it's about that positive celebration and also about enhancing that connection between you and your child and you really recognizing their efforts. So some additional kind of tips to make this work for you and your family is to get support from others in your house to recognize and comment on your child's efforts toward their goal. That can be older siblings or other adults in your house. Get them to notice out loud when they see your child doing something positive toward their goal, like, oh my gosh, good job, I see you going to the sink to wash your hands, if washing their hands is their goal. So don't make you the only person who supports them. Do mini celebrations or rewards when your child makes small steps toward their goal. Plan a checkpoint a week or a couple days in to connect with your child and talk about what's going well. You can give them high fives, smiles are cheap, encouraging words are free, and all of those things make all the difference because you're recognizing that they are making efforts. Many kids will get really motivated by getting some small little thing every time they take a step toward their goal. So like you see in the example here, you can award them a little Post-it note every time you see them doing something, so they can fill the wall with Post-it notes. Again, it's that visual cue for our visual thinkers. Or you can do a smiley face or a sticker chart, and you can do pennies in a jar or just other little visual cues. Keep in mind that some goals might take a long time to achieve and become a habit, but just keep working and encouraging and celebrating those small successes. If after a while it's just not working, switch up the goal. Maybe it just is not the right goal at this time and it's not working. So feel free to switch things up. And finally, keep finding ways to praise. Even if your child is struggling and not making a whole lot of progress, find little positives to emphasize. This will help your child build their persistence and belief in their ability to succeed with effort. And that's the real skill that we want our kids to come away with, is that when they put effort into something, they can make progress and they can get better at the things that are important to them. So good luck with goal setting. Thank you very much for listening.